Hey, it's the Profit Answer Man, Rocky Lalvani. If you're new to the podcast, check out my interview with Mike Michalowicz. It's episode 2. If you want to hear about each chapter in the Profit First book, go back and listen to episodes 3 through 13. Episode 1 is the why and how. On the Profit Answer Man, we learn money mastery without all the complicated accounting mumbo-jumbo using a simple system. Your accountant is too busy documenting your transactions and creating a rear-view mirror of what happened. My guess is you don't even look at the reports they sent you. If you're like most business owners, you struggle with this, and it's not your fault. We aren't taught money in school, and accountants aren't taught how to be profitable. The Profit First system created by Mike Michalowicz works, and he certified me to help you implement the system in your business. Remember, the new equation is sales minus profit equals expenses. Let's face it, without cash flow, you can't pay your employees, buy needed material, or pay your mortgage and support your family. I help you to do that and more, so you can focus on the parts of your business you love and receive the rewards for your labor and investment into your business. The stronger you are as a business owner, the more jobs you create, the better we are as a country. Small business owners are the backbone of America, and for that, you deserve to be well rewarded. Just remember, more revenue does not equal more profit. That's why we focus on the bottom line. I also just released a new course called Effortless Profit. You can find it on my site, profitcomesfirst.com, or just click the link in the show notes. Today, we have on my friend Diana Miret, who is the number whisperer and a business growth engineer. She can tell a business owner's story just by looking at their numbers and translates the facts into an action plan to grow the business. She developed these superpowers after years of studies and skill training. She's the recipient of a BA in accounting and finance and spent several quarters on the dean's list at the University of Cincinnati. She's certified in project management, an MIT certified process master, and holds a green belt in Six Sigma and Lean Sigma. As with most superheroes, they use their superpowers for good. And that is what Diana has set out to do with her consulting practice, the Business Profit Consulting, LLC. Let's meet my friend. Welcome to the Profit Answer Man, Diana Miret. It's great to have you join us today.
Hi, Rocky. Thank you for having me. Happy New Year, by the way.
Happy New Year to you, too. So let's share a little bit of your journey and what you've done in the past with regards to your accounting career.
Wow. Well, that's a long time ago, but sure, Rocky, I'll be happy to do that. I graduated with a double degree, accounting and finance, and I did sit for my CPA. And early in my career, I decided that I wanted to work inside of a corporation rather than working for an accounting firm. So I actually went inside the business. And I was very lucky in my early part of my career that I was able to combine both accounting as well as IT, information technology. I became a bit of a guru from a business user perspective, and I would help people in the company use the tools from on computers to do their jobs. I mean, that's how far back I'm going here. So sorry about dating myself there. However, it was very, very lucrative for myself, but also for the company, because there's two things that run through every company, Rocky, and you know this. I know you do because of your background. The two things, whether it's a bakery or a car repair shop or Apple, it doesn't matter. Both need accounting systems and IT systems to run. So I was very lucky that I was able to combine that background into a 30-year career.
That's quite a long time.
I know. Yes.
And you've moved on since then to have more fun, like as we all should. So one of the things that we talked about is for the small business owner, just as much as the big business owner, not having systems in place to track all of this causes a lot of financial stress, doesn't it?
Oh my goodness, absolutely. For the small business owner, I call it bank balance management. What does that mean? That means that they don't have any ability to tell what they're making or what their revenues are, what their expenses are at any given moment. So what they do is they just sign on to their online banking, look at the number that appears there, and make decisions. So as you can imagine, that just doesn't work, or it doesn't work very well. After a while, you forget that there's a bill that's coming in that you have to pay, and you've already spent the money, and et cetera, et cetera. So yeah, it can be a chaotic way to survive.
Very much so. It's kind of like driving a car and looking at the dashboard saying, hey, I'm going 55. Everything must be okay. But you don't actually have a GPS telling you where you're going and how you're doing in regards to your destination. So essentially, you're driving blind, unfortunately.
Right. You're almost driving without your dashboard telling you what speed you're going at too, because if you don't know how fast you're spending money or making money or a combination of both, you really are flying blind, like you said. Absolutely.
And so I think a lot of companies and many small businesses have a bookkeeping system. But you said to me, that's a bookkeeping system, but not a financial management system. So what's the difference between the two?
Well, a bookkeeping system keeps track of all the money coming in and going out of the company, which is essential for any business to do. But it's strictly a accounting and or IRS view of the numbers. So as you can imagine, yes, knowing what you're selling, knowing what you're spending is incredibly important and how it's categorized, but doesn't help you really manage your business because it gives you a profit number at the bottom of the worksheet. But is this one product that I have profitable, or should I have all these products or services, and which one of them are making me more money? Which ones are making less? Which ones should I just drop because of their contribution to that bottom line? And you don't have any way of knowing that by using the simple tools in a bookkeeping software, right? It's a whole different view of your numbers. So what I do with my clients, and we're going to probably get into that a little bit more, but what I do with my clients is take that information and put it into something that really will help them zone in on their business. So it would be organized by their products and services. It would be organized by their initiatives that they're trying to to get rolled out this year, et cetera. So that's I convert those numbers into something that is usable. So that's why I say it's just not a management view. It's strictly an accounting and tax view of the company.
So what should be included in a financial management system view?
Well, to begin with, you've got to be looking at trends. So I have for my clients a 12 to 18 month rolling view of their sales, for example, of their expenses. The sales would be broken down 18-month view month over month by their individual product lines or services. And I would also have them look at, for example, their overhead expenses. How are those tracking over the last 12 to 18 months? Over a 12 to 18 month time, you can begin to see cyclical fluctuations, or you can begin to see trends. And it's important for the business owner to see that, wow, during this particular time of year, my business seems to go into a lull. And my expenses stay the same, or my expenses grow, but sales aren't keeping up with it. So that gives the business owner management information and says, wow, this lull could be starting in the next couple of months. What can I do to ensure that that doesn't happen. But they don't have that view by looking at a column of numbers from a bookkeeping system.
And it's true. And I think this is a point to drive home. Accountants and bookkeepers are more interested in compliance and filling out tax returns, but they're not necessarily interested in what's valuable to the business owner, are they?
Yeah, exactly. It's two different intentions. It's two different, we need our taxes done properly. We need to account for every dime to the IRS in a professional and succinct way. For sure, it's an important piece of running any business. But from a business owner perspective, I need to understand, like, for example, I have an amazing client, and he's also a chef. And he really needs to understand his profitability. He has a food service company, and he likes to know of the products that he sells, which ones are more profitable than others, so he can stop making the ones that aren't as profitable, and also loves to be able to see who's really buying his product year over year, month over month. So that kind of information helps him decide, who am I going to go after? And maybe I should offer a discount so that I can get this other client that's similar to this other one I have, et cetera, et cetera. But without those numbers, you just don't have any visibility.
And that's true. And in most businesses, there are very much, I've noticed, certain parts of the business are highly profitable and other parts of the business are losing money. And if you don't have clarity, then you feel like you're stuck on that hamster wheel, running around doing all this stuff and wondering, why am I not successful? Because some of what you're doing is essentially hurting your business instead of helping your business. And so you have to have clarity so that you can appropriately price or step out of unprofitable markets.
Exactly. That's exactly right, Rocky. That's exactly what I help my clients do, is have that clarity. That's actually one of my favorite words.
So you've got a guide that helps business owners make 25% more profit in 2021. And as we walk through this, it doesn't surprise me, but I think it'll surprise people, is how very small differences can end up making that massive difference at the end of the day. So let's walk through that. Can you share that with us?
Oh, absolutely. I call it my 2% rule. So it's all factors of 2%, and it's in 4 pieces. The first piece is prices. Raise your prices by 2%. Now, I have actually met business owners who are so proud of themselves because they say, I've had the same prices for 5 years. And they say it was such a feeling of pride. And I look at them and I say, don't you remember that inflation is eating into that? Sometimes 2 to 3% every year? Like, that's not necessarily a good thing. So one of the first things we work on is just raise your prices by 2%. If nothing else, you're just recovering the cost of inflation. Okay, that's step 1. Step 2 is cut your fixed expenses by 2%. Now, I got to tell you, the majority of the business owners I work with, and I know you've also encountered this as well, they don't even look at the expenses that are flowing through their accounts. And often they forget that they're still making payments on this thing, or they're still subscribed to that other thing, or they're, whatever, paying membership dues for this other thing, or they're paying for product, et cetera. And they just forget about it. It just flows through. The bookkeeper pays the bills. They forget. Well, if you go in and review your expenses, chances are you can probably find 2% of your expenses that you can live without. And it's not that hard to do. When I've done it with my clients, they say, oh my gosh, I don't know if I can do that. Usually we find way more than 2%. But that's the second piece of the formula. The third piece is this one's a little more obvious, but set a target to increase your sales by 2%. Now, that's not incredibly high. If you have a business that's, 500,000 a year or $1 million a year, 2% of that isn't a huge number. So how can you brainstorm ways to increase your sales by 2%? Maybe you offer an incentive. Maybe you reach out to past customers. Most business owners are always chasing the new sale, and they don't really remember half the time that they have sold and made very, very happy other customers in their past. And they sometimes just don't reach out to them again. So usually just by reaching back into your customer base, it's pretty simple to get 2% more sales in my experience. So that's piece number 3, increase your sales by 2%. Using some sort of method that doesn't cost any additional money. And finally, we come to the last metric, and this one's the one with the big levers. This one is called conversion rate. So my clients that I work with often don't track their conversion rate, and if they do, it's very haphazard. But analyzing your sales conversion rate, in other words, for every 100 people that I speak to about my business, how many actually convert to becoming a customer? So, for example, if you do a marketing piece and you reach 5,000 people, how many of those? What is the percentage of conversion for that particular marketing piece? So, one of the ways to improve that, to improve your profitability, is to focus on conversion rate. In other words, not going after more sales, but actually improving your conversion. So I ask my clients, sit down and think of 5 ways that you could possibly improve your conversion rate. Say, for example, maybe you can offer a payment plan. Maybe that's a way that you can raise your conversion rate. Some people may not be able to buy it all at one time, but if you offer them a payment plan, they can take you up on the offer. Some of them will improve their conversion rate simply by providing the customer with some information or a testimonial or something that they receive in the mail that helps them convert. It doesn't have to be this incredible initiative to improve your conversion rate. But a 2% conversion rate increase is huge, because that means that you have that many more people buying for the same marketing dollars. So again, I'll review that. 2% more by raising your prices, 2% cuts to your fixed expenses, 2% increase in sales, and 2% conversion rate. So think about, if you up your sales by 2% and you convert more, I mean, this could add a significant amount to your bottom line.
And they're all teeny steps. It's not like massive initiatives. The first one you can literally do in a heartbeat. The second one you can task to your bookkeeper or to someone in your company to say, figure out what we're wasting money on. And the third, if you've got salespeople, they can help you with that part of it in figuring out your lever and in how you do that. And so all of these things are teeny, but teeny little things add up to big outcomes. And I don't think we realize that. And so I think that's a great reminder for people that all these little things work together.
Exactly. That's why I created this little 4-step approach, because, hitting your goals for the year, maybe you hit the same sales targets, but you have 25% more profit, if nothing else.
And we care about the bottom line. So 25% increase in profit is very nice and rather dramatic. And so the things that you talked about are actually great things to keep in our dashboard and to keep track of over time. and they will help us better run our company. So you're also a big Mike Michalowicz fan, and
Yes.
you're working with him in a slightly different role. You're a Fix This Next certified advisor. Can you tell us what that's all about?
Oh, it'd be my pleasure. I love Mike's approach to business, small business in particular, of course. In Fix This Next, he has provided a tool where you can analyze with a client what problem they need to fix next in their business. He talks about the fact that most business owners are in what he calls the survival trap. And what that means is that a business owner spends their time running from problem to problem, fire to fire, and often isn't moving the business forward. They're just putting out fires. And he calls that survival trap. Most business owners have a very, very, very long list of things they know they need to do. Well, how do you prioritize that list? When you can stop the survival trap, then you can sit down for a moment and focus on your list. Well, how do you prioritize it? Probably based on the last fire. So Fix This Next is based on the business hierarchy of needs, which is a very interesting take on the Maslow hierarchy of needs. So if you're familiar with Maslow's hierarchy of needs from your psych days in university, it's that the human being has a hierarchy of needs. And then as the needs become more and more sophisticated, the human being can evolve upwards. But if a lower problem is not resolved, the human being can't focus on it. So, for example, in the business hierarchy of needs, the lower level is sales. The next level is profit. And the next level is systems. A lot of business owners who are starting out focus on systems, for example. And really, what they need to do, because they have holes in their sales level, should be to start there. Improve your sales process, and that will, if you think about it, improve your profit level, which is the next level up. And when you have profit, you have what's called stability in a business, if you think about it. Without profit, you're not running a stable business. You can show profit 1 month and maybe not for 2. That's not a stable business. If you have stable profit, now is the time to really focus on your systems. So it allows you to categorize your problems by the levels in the business hierarchy of needs, and it allows you to set your priorities. And the beautiful thing about the entire thing is, as I've worked with clients on their lists of priorities, when we solve the ones at the lowest level and then move up, a lot of the problems that are in the upper levels will get resolved as part of it. So it's very, very interesting that as you focus on the fundamentals, the business stabilizes and gets a lot more organized, and the upper levels will improve almost on their own. Almost. Sometimes you still need to focus on them. But Mike developed this approach just to create the prioritized list of what you should fix next in your business.
And I love the simplicity of it. And I know that Mike even has a little, I don't know what it is. It's like a test or something. Not a test is probably the wrong word.
Yes.
That you can go through and it spits out, here's what you need to fix.
Yes, you can go to his website, fixthisnext.com. You can take his questionnaire for free, and it will spit out your first problem that you need to fix. It doesn't give you any more than the first one, but that's okay. That gives you a place to start.
And then what you do is you help them brainstorm solutions and action steps so that they can move forward on that, correct?
Absolutely. Because once you've identified it, okay, I need to do this. now what, right? You've got to go, okay, I've got to fix this. Well, how do I fix this? So yeah, we help them through coaching or consulting. We help them put a plan in place to fix each one of those prioritized gaps.
And how long does it take to get results?
Well, it obviously depends on the issue, but most of them can be well on their way to significant improvement in 3 to 6 months at the absolute high end. I have seen clients in 2 months greatly improve the level that they started working at just by focusing on it and not focusing on the other stuff, by just putting it all aside and focusing their effort and their energy on the 1 or 2 things they need to work on right now. You can move it forward pretty quick.
And a big part of that is learning to say no so that you can say yes.
Exactly.
And it cleans up the time and the ability. And if you build your building correctly, then things work out. I always like to use the analogy of baking a cake. You might have all the right ingredients, but if you don't follow the recipe and you do things backward, you're not going to have a very yummy cake. You're going to have a mess on your hands.
Absolutely. And I love that. I love that example you just gave, because I kind of use something similar. Sometimes clients just want to focus on the icing because, it's the fun part. I want to worry about my brand. I want to worry about my logos. I want to change this on my website. Well, okay. But foundationally, you need to be focused on something else. Worry about that first. Then we'll worry about some of the icing stuff, for example.
And that is so true. And the branding and the color scheme and all of that, that's not what drives sales, right?
Exactly.
Solving a customer's problem is what drives sales. And so at the end of the day, you really have to focus on the customer and what's their problem and show them that you have for them the solution to that.
Absolutely right.
Is there anything else that we should chat about today?
Well, Rocky, we are in a post-pandemic. Well, we're in the pandemic. We're in this time. It's a very interesting time for small businesses. And like all of us, we're all trying to understand what to do next. And I'm not necessarily plugging Fix This Next, but it really can help you at least focus. I know that one of the things a lot of business owners are struggling with is there's so many things to focus on right now happening in the world, happening in the United States, happening with the virus. By focusing on, okay, I'm just going to put these little blinders on and work on these foundational things, it can bring down some of that anxiety and stress that we are all feeling to a certain degree. So I think we have to be sensitive to the fact that business is in a very critical time. However, I will remind my clients of this, and I do quite a bit of speaking, so I do a reminder to the people I speak to as well. Some of the hugest fortunes were made during some of the worst recessions in the United States history. So just because we are in a time of business having some challenges, it does not mean that you're going to just, lose money and go down the drain or anything like that. On the contrary, it can be a heck of a time for opportunity. You just have to really be willing to have an open mind and think about your business perhaps a little bit differently. And
that is true. This is the time where fortunes are made. And
exactly.
There's no reason it can't be you.
Absolutely. And even just focusing, for example, on your 2%, just following those steps will maybe stabilize your organization a little bit and then improving your sales a little bit and so on. By just setting small targets, you'll have a tendency not to get as overwhelmed and to stay focused.
And if people would like to connect with you and get the free guide, what is the best way for them to do that?
Rocky, I am on the internet, of course. I'm dianamiret.com. I also have a site completely dedicated to Fix This Next. It's called fixthisnextbusinesscoaching.com. And either way, you can get a hold of me and send me a message or book some time with me, and we can have a great conversation. No charge.
And I always encourage people, take people up when there's an offer for no charge.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much for joining us today.
Oh, it's my pleasure, Rocky. Thank you for the invitation. It's an honor to be here.
Now you know the levers that you can affect to increase your profit by 25%. Go do it. Make 2021 the most profitable year ever. All of Diana's links are in the show notes. And let's remember, you don't need more resources. You need to be more resourceful. Remember to focus on the bottom line. If you want a done-for-you service, you can have me as your Chief Profitability Advisor because you have your zone of genius and want to spend time doing what you love. I only work with a handful of clients, so they get my full attention. I usually work with business owners who are growing to $500,000 to $5 million in revenue. There's a scheduling link in the show notes to get on my calendar to schedule a good fit call to see if I can support you. If you want to learn about living the life of your dreams, check out my other podcast, Richer Soul. As we close out, let's repeat the mantra. Revenue is vanity, profit is sanity, and cash is king. Let's thrive and grow. Have a profitable week.